Good morning, friends. Happy Tuesday. Oh, how are you? It's kind of rainy and gloomy here in East Tennessee, but it's supposed to get up to almost 70, so I'm excited about that. My son Caleb has his first soccer game tonight, so I'm excited about that. And today we're going to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. Very near. So if you have the book, you will notice that he calls today's reading feeling versus fact. So we are going to chat about our feelings today. And if you hop on here, tell me if you have the book. I hope that most of you are following along with the book, but if not, hopefully these videos are still helpful and encouraging to you. It's funny, I just happened to pick the mug that says Brave on it. Can you see that? For today, when we're going to talk about our feelings. So, tell me in the comments. Good morning, friends. Good morning. Say hello. Usually I can see the comments. We'll have to see. Yesterday, when my phone rang in the middle of my video, the sound did not come back on. I don't know. I've never had that happen on an Instagram Live video. Oh, good, Gretchen. I'm glad it's still helpful, even if you don't have the book. But what I'm going to do, I went through 7 points yesterday that were from day 15 in the book. I'm going to go put that last point in the comments today since my sound went out. I don't know what happened. My phone rang. I clicked to not accept, like to end the call. And then when I kept talking, people were like, I can't hear you. So something about my phone ringing made the sound go out. So I'm going to go put in the comments that last point that you guys couldn't hear. I was just talking to myself. So today we're going to chat about feelings versus fact. And I'm also going to share a mistake that I have made on this journey to learning to change my thoughts and just learning more about my feelings and being led by my feelings. And it goes along with today's reading. So how is everybody today? Okay, I'm going to set this down so I can talk. You go ahead and finish your coffee. I'll finish mine later. Okay, so he starts off this chapter by giving an example of when he was a kid and he was home alone with one of his big sisters and the house alarm went off. And he had that kind of alarm where you can see like the intruder moving through the house, like it lights up or something. And of course the police were coming, they were terrified. And then he realized they had put it on the wrong setting. So they had put it on the setting like we're away from the house, whereas they should have put it on the nighttime setting because they were still home. So they felt terrified. And the alarm showed that there was an intruder in their home. But in reality, they were the actual intruders moving through the house because they had put it on the wrong setting. And so we can't always trust our feelings. I've been through this whole journey of learning how much I let my feelings rule my life and how detrimental that has been to me. And I've also learned that my feelings aren't always true. Now, there for a while, I got stuck in this I got stuck in this belief that was too extreme. Like I took this belief to the extreme that my feelings are never true. My feelings are lies. My feelings are terrible. And what does that lead to? You stuff them, you don't feel them, and that's not good for us either. So we have to come to this place where we learn. This is one thing that Dr. Edie will tell you. I learned this from her. Let your feelings be an indicator. When you're feeling something that's not enjoyable, like, oh, I'm hurt, I'm offended, that really hurt my feelings, I'm upset, I'm jealous, envy. Instead of stuffing it and not feeling it, ask yourself, be curious about your feelings. I've heard several people recently say, be curious. Like, let it lead to you looking into, like, digging deep. Why did that upset me? Okay, well, she said this. Okay, well, what am I believing that makes that so upsetting? I'm usually believing something like, oh, well, she doesn't like me, or oh, he must be mad at me. That is where I get myself in trouble. It's not the feeling. Let the feeling make you ask questions. Let the feelings be an indicator. Let the feelings make you curious. Then you can dig in and figure out what actually is true and what's not true. So it's not that your feelings are always bad and you should not feel them. Let your feelings be an indicator. So that's the biggest mistake that I have made. I went from one extreme to the other. So I went from the extreme my whole life, the first 41, 42 years of my life. I'm 44. Of this, my feelings just ruled my life. I felt like this is how I am. I'm prone to depression. I'm just a negative person. This is how God made me. I've just got to learn to live with it. This is who I am. False. Lie. But I went from that extreme to then the other extreme of feelings are bad. Feelings are lies. Don't feel the feelings. Your feelings are awful. So no, I should not be ruled by my feelings. But also, God gave us emotions. God created us with emotions. And all those years I spent on antidepressants, this is a whole nother topic. I didn't mean to get into this topic, but I was basically not feeling my feelings. I was stuffing and not dealing with baggage I should have dealt with, which is not good either. You bear that physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's not good to stuff them and never feel either. So I went from letting my feelings rule my life to believing that feelings were from the enemy and I should never feel them or have them, and they were all telling me lies. The truth is somewhere in the middle. The truth is God created us with emotions. He also gave us lots of tools to help us navigate them. But stuffing them and treating them as sin almost is not the way to deal with it either. Yes, self-control. I am learning to let my feelings be an indicator. This is still hard for me. I will walk away from a conversation and feel hurt or offended, or why did she say that? Or she must not like me. And I am learning to stop myself in that moment. Now, what exactly did she say? And that's not what she meant. Talking myself through that whole, questioning my feelings and what is true. Digging in and figuring out what is true and what is not true. That is where I'm at right now. So he says we cannot trust our feelings to be synonymous with facts. The single biggest mistake people make when dealing with difficult feelings is to automatically accept them as true. Okay, yes, sometimes we're going to be sad. Yes, sometimes something happens and we're grieving. I mean, it's life. We live here on a broken earth where sad and bad things happen. So it's not like we should say, oh, don't have those feelings of grief, when sometimes we need to grieve and we need to get it out and we need to cry. But it's what we do in that moment. It's where we stay. It's what we choose to believe as true. And when we always accept our feelings as true, that gets us in trouble too. Which is the first extreme that I lived my life on. You are much more than your feelings, and they will not define you unless you allow them to. Well, that's what I did the first, majority of my life. Then here, this made me feel a little bit better. The longer you have been led by your feelings, the harder it will be to establish reason as the basis for future decision making. So that gave me a little comfort, that because I've told y'all before, this has been hard. The hardest thing I've ever done. This has been harder than losing weight. This has been harder than learning CrossFit as the most unathletic person on the face of the earth. This has been harder than going off antidepressants. This has been hard, which was hard. These things that I'm mentioning were hard. This has been harder because it's so many years ingrained. But I have hope. Why? Because I can be transformed by the renewing of my mind. God's word tells me it is so, and I believe his word to be true. So, the basis of this reading is just to remind us that when we have a feeling, it's not always true. Check it. Use your feelings as a check engine light. We must remember that emotions are only subjective indicators of objective experience. Anybody else here feel like they're not the most objective person in the world? So anyway, all right, guys, facts versus feelings. Let your feelings be indicators. Don't stuff them. That's not good either. Learn from my mistakes. And tell me in the comments any practical ways that you have dealt with this in your own life. All right. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.